So it's like, well, I can see this on TV or I can actually get involved. So from my perspective, what we did for the Divina World Foundation is that we're saying we want to have unity. Let's bring people together from corporate ERGs, nonprofit leaders, and let's partner together to deal with some of these underserved communities. One of the things that I've always tried to do is to help pay it forward. And 2 years ago, I was working with an organization that we were doing positive things in the community, and we wanted to bring people that were advocates together and change makers. So it's like, well, I can see this on TV or I can actually get involved. So from my perspective, what we did for the Divina World Foundation is that we're saying we want to have unity. Let's bring people together from corporate ERGs, nonprofit leaders, and let's partner together to deal with some of these underserved communities. So the mission with Divina World Foundation is helping underserved communities. That could be farm workers, cancer warriors, people that really have not had a seat at the table. So from our perspective, we're providing a forum and we're inviting people from all those organizations to partner together from the perspective of, it's not an individual group. Our strength is working together with each other. And whatever differences we have, one of the things that I'll be speaking about at the conference is unconscious bias. So we all of us all over the world, we have our own biases that we have. So I'll walk through how we can acknowledge that and really in the interest of being the best person we can be, because I'm also a mentor with the Miller Center for Social Entrepreneurship at Santa Clara University, is that we share that with the 300 mentors that we have based in Silicon Valley so that they can be the best mentor with perhaps a Latino from a South American country or a woman from an African country. So that what we need to do is put ourselves in their shoes and see what they're dealing with and then give insights as opposed to do this homework, you're done with the modules and you'll be great. No, that's not the way it works. They really need to be able to reach out and find their own board, for example, that where they're at in that stage of product development, those are the right people at that time that can help them the most. One of the things that we want to accomplish is bringing people together to collaborate. I've got a great history working within corporate ERGs, and it wasn't just me working within the group that I was in. We would work and partner with the other ERGs in the company. So the largest one, for example, when I was with AT&T, were the women of AT&T. And then I was a leader with the Hacemos, the Hispanic group. But I also partnered with the Asian group and the African American group. So when we come up with the best practice, we want to share that and have a greater impact around the world. So from my perspective, with our particular Divina focus, we're trying to help underserved communities by bringing different leaders together. So we're calling them, change makers and advocates. An example is that when I was involved with a group called Ayudando Latinos a Sonar, they're a nonprofit helping farm workers in Half Moon Bay, and I was shocked to hear that some of the farm workers, there were two families living in a one-bedroom apartment. And so we approached the city, I put a presentation together, and with the director from ALAS, the Ayudando Latinos a Sonar, and Victoria Sanchez de Alba, we made a presentation to the city saying, what if the city would demolish this dormant property they've been doing nothing with for 7 years, and we would bring in affordable housing, of Mercy Housing, and work with the community so that we now are currently have a 5-story, 42-unit facility, $42 million project that is being funded by tax credits and CERNA funds. CERNA funds will allow the rent to be at the level when a farm worker only makes $25,000 a year, they'll be able to pay what they can afford. And so that's great for that small community, but what we are saying here is that that's a model that could and should be replicated. And that's what we want to share with this conference. Things that we know that work as a model that people can take and help their people in their locations as well. Here in the Bay Area, for example, we have lots of issues that we're trying to address. We're bringing together people that have had experience in corporations, employee resource groups. They do a great kind of work in their one location, but what if they collaborated with nonprofits and partnered together with agencies and share that information? A lot of the challenges we have sometimes is that the people that are underserved don't know where these resources are at. So if we get to the people that can change a negative situation into a positive, let's create a model that can then be replicated. So for example, one of the things that I did with the Ayudando Latinos Arcenar group, when I got involved with them, we were able to facilitate with the relationship we had with Procter & Gamble. They gave a full truckload donation of retail products that you would buy in a store, retail value $500,000, if we could find a nonprofit that would pay the shipping costs. So for the investment of about $15,000 from Cincinnati to the Bay Area, they were able to hand those out, particularly during COVID when people sometimes didn't even have a job. That was a real challenge for them. So when I was there to see that organization hand those out, the line was a car line that was almost a mile long. People really needed that. So from my perspective, we're trying to bring people together to collaborate, to network, and to partner together going forward to address some of these gaps. We've got underserved communities. We want to help them. Farm workers, cancer warriors, people coming back from the military have a difficult time assimilating. And we're trying to help them get established and find a life that they can live positively. One of the things that we really want to do with this conference is to, again, bring people that have resources and may not even know of the gaps or the needs that are out there. So we've invited 3 people from the City of San Jose's offices, economic development, cultural areas, people that can have those hands-on funds that are available, working again with the corporate employee resource groups or network groups, rather than them just operating as a silo. How do we share that information with nonprofits? So instead of having 3 different silos trying to accomplish something, what if we partnered together and had a greater positive impact? And if we could take that model and replicate that to other parts of the country. That was one of the things that I did when I was at AT&T with the employee resource groups. We had 11,000 members across the country, Puerto Rico and Mexico, 42 chapters. And when we would have a successful program, we would share that as a best practice. We would partner with other employee resource groups there. The largest, for example, were the women of AT&T. I partnered with the Asian group. It wasn't just Hispanic, so we partnered internally with AT&T and providing those kinds of resources and positive programs, and then we would also work with nonprofits. So that's where we really tried to maximize a positive influence in several communities when we found a good idea. I helped establish something called High Tech Day with the ASEMOS Employee Resource Group, where we invited local high school students to an AT&T facility, gave them STEM or science, technology, engineering, and math workshops, and I would give them what I called my college career strategic planning guide. With those 60 high school students, I gave them a handout and I said, what do you want to be in 5 years? Where do you see yourself out? Not me telling you to go get a job, but what's in your heart? What do you want to do? That's your vision. Then from that, you need to write down that on the paper that I handed out to them. Then you need to set goals so you can track your progress in that direction. Now you need to start talking about their milestones on a timeline so you can check your progress. So you have vision, goals, milestones on a timeline. Now you need a strategy. So when I went to get my business degree at Santa Clara, the undergraduate cost was $22K. Now an undergraduate has to pay $62,000. So you need a financial strategy. Do you go to community college for 2 years and transfer over? Do you get scholarships or several scholarships? Or even the projects that I've been working on, there's also work-study programs at a company called Bill.com, and they had a financial workshop that they trained students to write the code for financial services at their company. So they were basically being paid $40 an hour the first year they did that, $50 an hour the second year, and if they got their computer science degree and wanted to work doing that kind of work at Bill.com, they would starting salary would be $140,000 because they would have had 4 years of experience. So for someone right out of college, that's a pretty good starting salary. So those are the kinds of programs we want to share so that people hear about that, partner and collaborate and have a bigger impact. We're reaching out to corporate people, employee resource groups, in terms of the programs that they have. They've been dealing, particularly here in Silicon Valley, with tech companies cutting budgets back. So they've lost headcount. So we're saying, let's partner not just with one ERG, but several ERGs within the company, as well as other company ERGs. So that collaboration, let's introduce that and encourage them to do that, and work also with nonprofits in a particular area of interest that they would like to facilitate. So I was at an event just a moment ago about the women, there are the Latina Coalition of Silicon Valley. And I was being already asked, because several of the people that will be at our summit as moderators or speakers were telling people about that. So people were coming up to me and saying, how can I help? And I said, well, come over and talk to us. And what we would like to do is to have people network and collaborate together. So it's not just a one-off. It's not a leadership summit. We're not giving awards. We're saying, let's introduce these issues to our people, and let's work together going forward. That's something that, particularly with the political climate, people want to find a way how they can help. And that's what we're trying to do with this particular summit.